Welcome to Get Better Basketball Live. I'm Coach DeMarco, and today my guest is Coach Austen Hurley, and he's going to talk about his press break and specifically how that aligns with his offensive philosophy. You're not going to want to miss this episode. But before I jump into it, make sure you hit that like button down below, turn on your notifications, and subscribe to Get Better Basketball on YouTube for more great video breakdowns each and every week. Another Get Better Basketball Live is up now. Coach DeMarco here with Get Better Basketball Live, and today my guest, Coach Austen Hurley. Coach Hurley is going to talk to us a little bit about his press break and how that ties into his offensive philosophy. Coach, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. I know in the past you've shared out on your universal press breaker. And today you're going to tie it into your transition offense, your man-to-man offense, sort of how that all flows together. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I did the universal press breaker, that was more of like a to B kind of thing. Like when you do this, you go here. This press break is more of a fluidity one where we are going to match it to our transition offense with our lanes. So players don't have to get set or get aligned. We're just, when we get the ball in, okay, they're pressing us. We know exactly where we need to be, and we're already going to be in those lanes, and we're going to attack it. And that is what has changed us seamlessly. My last year as a head boys basketball coach, we were undersized team, but teams would try to press us and we'd still be able to break it through this natural fluidity of press break from our transition line, because our other guys knew where to go and it worked well. And we loved when teams pressed us because it didn't bother us. It was, nope, we know exactly where we're going to be. We're going to go through it. And the nice thing about this is you install it and you refresh it for against teams, and you just have to walk through it. You don't need to go hard through a 2-2-1 or 1-2-1-1 or 1-2-2 presses. You can just go and walk through this, what we're looking at, and then they run it.
All right, Coach, let's jump into it and take a look at it.
So this is our foundations of our press break. So the shape of your press offense must match your transition offense, because it allows players to play freely and not think. Each player is in their respective lane and doesn't need to worry about where to go. It allows the press break to flow naturally into your half-court offense. The purpose of the press break is to shrink the press in order to, one, break the press, because that's the primary goal. But we want to create small advantages and find big advantages to score against the press. So this is our press break formation that we do, and these are the options that we have. So just like in our transition offense from the video that we did, is in my system, the 4 is inbounding it. We have the 1 finding the alley or the outlet area, but to sideline. We have 2 in the rail. We have 3 in the opposite rail. And we have 5 in the middle. They're going to stop right before half court. And this is kind of like, okay, we're moving in transition. We're looking back. Oh, they're pressing us. We got to come back. We got to come back to help. So on a made shot, if they're, let's say, denying the 1, and we'll talk about it, the 3 then can come back. But primarily what we want to do is get the 4 to inbound the 1 as quickly as possible so that they can't get set up. And then from here, 1 has options. The first option, we can kick it up to the 2. We don't want 2 across half court because we don't want any over and backs. We want 2. If we catch in this corner, that's okay. We all have the 5 for the middle, or we have our safety valve, which is the 4. And the 4 always needs to be behind the ball, so that way we have a reversal back. Let's say we get it to the 2. What it works well with this is we're still in our lanes. We get it to the 2, and let's say that the 5 crosses over and we get it to the middle of the press. Our 4 is going to then trail behind, getting in their position. Our 3 is going into their corner, and our 2 is going into their corner, and the 1 is filling. And now that gets us set into our half-court offense. I'm a 5-out coach. If you're a 4-out 1-in coach, it still works. So you get to your 5, you can get it to a guard from the opposite side, and they can come back rim run still. Let's say we get to the 5 in the middle. Let's say the 1 past the 5 here from that second frame. Now the 5 has a lot of options here. Get it to the 3, going across court. There's diagonal pass. 5 can get it to the 2. We can kick it back to the 1, or we can get the 4 trailing still. If it goes to the 5, the rule stands is 4 needs to stay behind the basketball for that reversal. Okay, and maybe like I didn't have bigs that could dribble real well, so their main thing was they're going to catch, they're going to face and find the next guy that is open, and we're going to try to advance the ball across half court and break the press as quickly as possible. And you got to be careful, like with your threes here. The threes got to get deeper, and your twos got to deep because we don't want to catch it in these coffin corners where we might be subjected to a half court violation or those traps where we can't get it out. And then one of the options is, let's say you get it back to your four, inbounding it in on the last frame. Then what happens is the four dribbles over to the side, getting the defense to slide over, and then we can hit the three or the five, or you can come back to the one. But our main goal is this right here is a diagonal, is the 4, 5, and 2 are all getting this diagonal line because someone's going to have to defend the 5. And I'll show how this works against a 2-2-1, and it'll work. And I'll show you all the ins and outs for that against 2-2-1. And what I like about this one is it's not A to B. It is conceptual, meaning we are just playing basketball. It's not a what if this, what if that. It is find the open person, passing the ball, and find those advantages and break the press and try to score a layup on the other end and try to get a quick score. So we're going to go over into fast draw right now. So in here, what we can see is the fours inbounding the ball. So this is against a traditional 2-2 or 2-2-1, where you have your X1 and X2 at the free throw line. You have your X4 and X3, kind of splitting the difference, your X5 is back. And traditionally what I've seen is that, and I've ran this too, is when one gets the ball, this X1 wants to bait the one to dribble the sideline into this trap. Now, the nice thing about this press break is after the four inbounds and 4 steps in, we want to come in. We don't want to go away. We want to come in because there are times where I faced a 2-2-1 where this X2 will deny this 4. If they're over on this side, they'll deny that back. So we want them coming up the line, sitting here for reversal. But what's nice about this is even if X1 wants to bait the one to dribble in, we have a push-pull action in this. And what we want to do with this is, let's say one dribbles at the 2. The 2 is going to come across to this next coaching line. And now what happens with this is X1's coming over. We have X3 is, let's say they are going to come to trap because they want to trap in this part. Well, there's enough space here where X3 has to make a decision. Okay, am I going to come trap here? If they do, we can reverse it back to the 4. If not, we can kick it up to the 2. If the X5 slides over and they want to take sideline like they do, that's totally fine, because what happens with this is when the 1 gets here, our kind of rule of thumb is create diagonals. So we're going to put the 3 behind here. Now the X4 has to make a decision. If we come here, and let's say you have a nice tall 1 and they seize it perfectly, we can get a nice skip pass over to the other side and we have a nice layup on the back side. Let's say your 1 is not a very tall player, but they can thread the needle and they get it to the 5. Well, now they're defended by a 4. The 3 is still open on this backside, or if they stayed home, they're open on this side. So we're trying to look as to get the ball to the other side as quickly as possible through a diagonal. And we're all still in our same lanes here. So let's say it does go to the 5, the 4 still staying behind the ball, is still trailing, and we're flowing through. So that's kind of like one of our first options. And if we went through every option, we could have a 3-hour video, but we don't have time for that right now.
Coach, I love this press break. It actually reminds me when Butler played VCU. I think it was back in 2011, so a few years back now. But they ran like a 1 up and 3 across type press breaker, similar to what you're looking at here. And it's so versatile because it can be used against really any. It could be great against man. It could be great against zone presses. There's a lot of different things you can do out of it. So I like the versatility in the press, but then also how you can flow into your half court offense, which I know is really important to you guys as well.
Yeah, and it is. And one thing about this is a lot of coaches ask, well, what happens when X1 denies the 1? Because that happens to us. It's, well, let's take that away. They've been hitting it. Well, what happens is the 3 and the 5 have to recognize that. Okay, they're getting face guarded. Well, there's only one defender down here. So the 3 can now come back down into their lane, get the ball. The 5 can step forward here. And then the 4 is reading this. We got 2-on-1 is, okay, if we're going to take away the middle, which they traditionally will do, we can give the ball to the 3. Now we can start penetrating here. We can come, we can go. The 4 is going to stay behind, and the 2 is going to fill. Now we have a diagonal, right? So with this, the 2's got to rotate over, and it's going to be tough for them. And the 4's got to come over. with this, but now we have a diagonal. The 5 is going to be worried about the sideline. And now we have 2 on the backside. You may even get 1 right here beating their guy here. Or you might be able to get a quick reversal back to your 4. The next one's rotating. We get it back to the 1, quick reversal. And now we have a 2 wide open on the backside. So when we get to one side, we want to get to the other side as fast as possible because we want to get that defense that press to shift. And we also want it to shrink as well. We want them to have to play and defend us on our side of the court.
Coach, I know we've talked transition offense. We're going to talk man-to-man offense as well. And looking at the press break, any advice you have for coaches with regard to this press break before we transition on to a different topic?
Yeah, so if you want to be really good at teaching press break, you need to learn all the different press breaks and how they work so that you can find their weaknesses. Because this is conceptual. It's not, okay, against a 2-2-1, we do this, a 1-2-1-1, a diamond, a 1-2-2. It is, we need to be in our lanes and we need to find just the advantages. Where's the 2-on-1s? Where's the diagonals? And we need to hit those key marks. And we need to be smart with the basketball. We don't want to be falling to pressure of, okay, we're going to play fast and chuck up a shot that's not in our norm. We want to break the press if we can get a wide open layup, or if you're a good transition 3 shooting team, you have a good shooter, then you hit that shot. But my main thing is when I learned how to break presses is you need to learn every single press because you need to learn how to beat those presses.